Howdy, howdy everybody, Chris here. We're back in the garage and today we're gonna be painting this Toyota 4Runner. We've prepped out a rear bumper to paint. This is a raw rear bumper. So I'm gonna walk you through the steps to prep this out and paint it. And then we're gonna blend into this quarter panel, both quarter panels on this 4Runner. I'll walk you through that entire process, so let's get into it. Okay, so we have mixed up some sealer and then we've got the base coat right here. So this being a raw bumper, we need to prepare this. So Darius went ahead and sanded this down. How did you prepare this, Darius? So what we use is we wash it really well, first of all, because they have a mold release agent on these bumpers when they release them from the factory or whatever to get them out of the molds, and it's greasy. So you gotta really clean it. We use soap and water to clean it, and then we use wax and grease remover to clean it after that, or you can use isopropyl alcohol or something of that nature. Then what we do is we use a sanding paste. There's a few different brands you can use. We like to use Bulldog paste. We use soap and water, Bulldog paste on a gray scuff pad, and we scuff everything with that. That'll put the fine scratches in it, get everything sanded, and you gotta get in all these little nooks and crannies. Now you're not gonna be able to get it perfect to get into all those tight areas, so we use an adhesion promoter after that. So we masked it off. We've got it ready for the adhesion promoter. Let me show you what the adhesion promoter we're using here. I think we're gonna use the U-Pole Grip number 4. Also, Bulldog makes an adhesion promoter that's really good as well. Basically what this is gonna do is help soften up that plastic a little bit, help that sealer to grip a little better, and promote the adhesion of the sealer, the base, and the clear coat. So let's go ahead and spray this down. Before we start spraying our adhesion promoter, Darius is going to tack this off. And what this is going to do, we've got a few little particles of dust that have landed on this, like right there. So right before we spray it, Darius is going to take a brand new tack cloth and just wipe it down. That'll pick up any of those small particles of dust. Definitely want to wear a mask when you're spraying this stuff. We are using the Innocraft Drizzle D1. I do like this gun because it consumes less materials. It's going to consume less air. It produces less overspray. And when you're at home or DIY working out of your garage, you want to limit the amount of overspray you have. But it saves a lot of materials as well. And it sprays base and clear coat fine and sealer. We're going to actually use a different gun for our clear today, but we will use this for the base coat. The air pressure, it's about 18 psi. And then the fluid volume, we'll just do 2 turns out, or 2.5 turns out. 1, 2.5, and
for your first coat of base, especially in cooler temperatures, you want to put on a tack coat. That is just a light coat to introduce that sealer to the surface so you don't get any fish eyes. Create a good base to apply your second coat of sealer.
all right, we're going to let that flash off. I mixed it a little bit thin, so I wanted to put an introduction coat on it. And what that's going to do is going to help keep it from fish eyeing. If you mix something up real thin with a lot of solvents, sometimes it'll fish eye. We got a little fish eye right there, but once we let that dry, we can put another coat on. You totally won't even be able to see that. So we'll just let this flash off for a little bit and we'll put another coat on. Okay, we're ready for the first coat of base. So we let this sit about 10 to 15 minutes. before we apply our base. I've got the base already mixed up. Gun settings are going to be about the same for the base coat. Low pressure, typically between 15 and 22 psi. And then I like to keep my fluid volume low, like 2.5 turns out from closed or 3 turns out from closed. Those are all just guidelines. You know, your gun settings change through a lot of factors. The temperature you're spraying in, the type of paint you're spraying, the gun you're using. So there's a lot of variables there. Those are the gun settings for this particular gun and the materials we're using. Usually get all the edges first.
As far as what base you want to choose, I use Nason XL. Now you don't have to use Nason XL. There's a lot of different brands. What I would suggest is that you go to your local paint supplier and take in a sample of the color like a gas lid door and have them mix it up to match that.
You want to overlap your passes about 70–80%.
They can tint it if they need to, and some of these colors are very difficult to get right. So it is a good idea to take it to a paint supplier that can tint your color so you get a nice match.
I'm not putting on a heavy coat.
As far as spraying techniques, whether you're applying sealer, base, or clear coat, you want to always have a consistent speed, a consistent distance from the panel, and overlap your passes 70–80%. If you're new to painting, my experience is that beginners tend to spray a little bit slower. They're a little bit more cautious. So if you do that, you want to be a little bit farther away from the panel, maybe 6 inches away, because if you spray close at a slow speed, you're going to get runs. You're going to get too much material on that panel. So just keep that in mind. If you're spraying closer, you need to move a little quicker.
We'll tack this off real quick. So basically our bumper's meeting this quarter panel. Get the good color match. We're going to blend into this quarter panel. So even though the bumper might be a shade different, when we do the blend, it tricks your eye into thinking it's the exact same color. So all we're going to do is put one coat at the bottom here like this, and then we'll blend it out into the quarter panel. We'll let that set up.
We let that first coat of base flash off for about 15 minutes, and now we're ready for our second coat. Here I'm using a sunlight to check the coverage on my parts, like this quarter panel. We're just going to blend out into the quarter panel just a little bit. We'll put another coat on the edge, and then you'll see me blend it out into the panel. And basically I'm just using a wrist turn to blend that out into the panel. But it's important to use a light to make sure you have proper coverage. And this light right here imitates the sun. We're ready to spray our clear coat, and just remember, clear coat is not that difficult to spray. It's a little thicker. The gun adjustments are a little bit different. So we're going to open up our fluid volume to 3 turns out from closed. We need a little bit more air pressure because that clear coat's thicker. This particular gun is the 817, the Porpoise PRD-817 with a 1.2 tip, and it requires about 28 psi to break up and atomize that clear coat properly. We're going to have a full fan. So we open up our fan pattern all the way. Very important to have a consistent speed and a consistent distance from the panel. And what I would recommend is as you spray that clear coat on the panel, evaluate that clear coat and see how it's laying down on the panel. If it looks dry, that means you're either too far away or you're just not getting enough material on the panel, so you might not have enough volume coming out. If it looks heavy, then you're putting too much material on the panel, and that would be an opportunity for it to run. So you want a nice flow. Now, clear coat flows out a little bit as it dries, some more than others, but if you get a nice coat of clear on it where it looks wet, but it doesn't look heavy, that's the perfect amount. Don't get too anxious about spraying clear coat. Remember, clear coat is very forgiving. If you have minor imperfections, those can be removed. Even runs can be removed if they're not too bad. And I have plenty of videos sharing with you how to remove those kind of imperfections. It's really not that difficult. The clear coat we're using on this project is the Finish One FC740 with a slow activator. This is a high solids clear, has a brilliant gloss, a really deep finish, and it cuts and buffs nicely. So if you have any imperfections in your clear coat, 24 hours and you can denib those, wet sand any imperfections out, and buff it very easily. And I will leave links to all the products I use in this video. I really pride myself on getting the best value for my money. So if you're using any of these products, just know that they're quality products that are going to give you good results at a very good price. After the first coat of clear, you want to let it set up for about 15 minutes, depending on the clear. I like to touch the tape, and if it comes off stringy, then it's not quite ready. If it's just tacky, then you're good to go for your second coat of clear. It's important to follow the manufacturer's guidelines for flash times, so always refer to your technical data sheet. Each clear coat has their own technical data sheet, and you can find those online very easily, and they'll give you the flash times in between coats. I'm really loving the way this Porpoise PRD-817 with the 1.2 tip lays down this clear coat. It does a beautiful job of atomizing that clear coat and laying it down nice and flat. And this clear coat flows out beautifully, so I really like this clear coat as well. So if you want to check those out, you can. If you're a DIYer and you're just starting out, this gun's about $275, but you can find other guns that are very reasonably priced that'll do a really good job. One that I would recommend is the Drizzle D1. It runs under $100. You get 3 needle sets and it does a fantastic job. If you are looking for a paint gun trying to decide, check out my playlist on paint gun reviews. That goes over a bunch of different paint guns, including a bunch of budget guns that are fantastic.
This clear does slick out pretty good.
Yeah, it does.
Little piece of dust there. It's fairly clean. All right, we'll let it sit.
So here's a good look at the finished product. Overall, it came out beautiful. Now, if you're spraying in an open garage at home, you're going to get some particles of dust. You try and limit those, and I've got videos that I'll share with you how to kind of keep the dust down and get a clean paint job. We've got a few particles of dust in this paint job. We'll cut and buff those out, and it'll come out beautiful just like factory OEM. Listen, I appreciate each and every one of you watching. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. Let me know where you're watching from. And if you want to learn more about paint and body repair, check out some of our other videos. And we'll see you on the next episode of Garage Noise.